Hi ladies, it's Karen, and I come to you with a project, finally. I've been busy this past week. My sister has been visiting, so I've been spending a lot of time with her. But this is a mini album that I've been working on for what seems like forever. And I've gotten quite frustrated with it, and I lost my mojo in the middle of it. But I'm finally complete with it, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I used the Garden Tea Party papers from DCWV that Donna, she Scrap Challenge on YouTube, had sent me. Thank you so much, Donna. These papers are so cute and vintage shabby chic, and I just love this paper collection. But I tried to do it in a hinged style, which is where some of my frustrations came from. I didn't use the Laura Dennison stack the deck method. I made my own hinges. But at any rate, I got through it. And I thought I'd share it with you. And because of the size and the lighting, I thought I'd bring it outside and share it with you. So the first thing I'm going to share is the binding, because the binding I thought came out really cute. I used burlap for the binding here, and the peach doily here is one that I received from Lisa in my vintage rack. Thank you so much, Lisa. And this applique here at the bottom is from Margeret at the recent rack that she had sent me. So many beautiful appliques, and I tried to use some of them in this mini album. So I used burlap, and I added these two Wild Orchid Craft roses here, and underneath the roses I put some seam binding and ribbons so that they were just flowing down. If you could see that. So that they just like, well, you can't see that. So that they, you know, all these ribbons and seam bindings that I crinkled, and laces. This one is from Puerto Rico. Lucy had brought it back for me. Some fiber. I made a bottle cap charm to go on the bottom here, using the paper collection and a Martha Stewart butterfly, and I put it on the back of this doily from Hobby Lobby, and I added a little bird charm there. I'm going to do a separate video on these bottle cap charms that I make. They're really cute, and on the back, one of the buttons that I had made to go with this album. So I thought the binding came out really sweet with the appliques, and I put the halfback pearls around the top and around the bottom, and mostly to keep the burlap from fraying here. I adhered the burlap and these appliques using my Fabri-Tac, and it worked beautifully. So that's how I did the binding. I thought it just came out really sweet, really cute. So and then this here is some Prima lace that I had in my stash. So let's see how this will work now. So this, for the cover, I'm so sorry. For the cover, I made this bottle cap charm, and again with an image from the collection. This charm, birdcage charm, another bauble, and a little teapot here. I thought it came out really cute, and I just hung it there. The bling here, birdcage, and the little bird is from Prima. I hung one of the Tim Holtz baubles here off of this doily, and I thought that looked really cute. Most of the flowers that I use in this album are from Stephanie, she's Vintage Paper Girl, and from Isabel, she's Simply Crafty French. So unless I say otherwise, that's where a lot of the flowers from this in this album come from. I used the little dove, glitter dove that I got at Joann's there, and a little spray that Isabel had made and sent me all the way from France. Thank you, Isabel. And thank you, Stephanie, also. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your flowers. I bound it using my seam binding. I crinkled it and just bound it, and on the back I covered it with one of the buttons that I made, and again the Prima lace. So this is going to be tricky to share because it is a good size album, so let's see how I do. I've already tried this video once and it was way too long. So I'm sorry, I'm just going to move the camera up and do it this way. Okay, so the first page is Maya Road envelope, and that I stamped and used my Lindy's on, and inside is a photo mat using paper from the collection, and just a real simple photo mat, and another photo mat, and a tag which was a cutout from the paper pack, and it's already glittered and glossy accented sort of with a bloomer from Bo Bunny on top there. This here is a chipboard piece from Maya Road. It's a bird, and I went over it with my vintage stain. A little rose there from Wanda, and I layered it on a piece of lace. And for this page, this is a flower that Lydia had made and sent to me in a rack. Thank you, Lydia. And this is, I made this band here using my Martha Stewart punch. And this is a Martha Stewart butterfly. I made it dimensional. And another I Am Roses flower layered on some lace. And then the band holds a little tag, remember the important things, and some doodle hearts, and that's paper from the collection. And this is a doily that I distressed using tea dye, which is the ink that distress ink that I used throughout the album. And another little tag using the stamps that Marcia had sent me. Thank you, Marcia. I love those stamps. And then the next page, this is actually a policy envelope that Marcia had sent me at one time, and I just folded it up to make this pocket. And I used my flower fringe die to make this paper flower with the Tim Holtz of Dodge ticket and these two little flowers Lydia had sent me, and some trim from Joann's, and the tag just says Dream Big, and a spot for journaling or what have you. Another one of the buttons that I made to go in the album, layered on a Prima flower, and inside is a photo mat or a place for journaling or however you want to use it. And then on the inside of that is a mat, and a picture can fit through this trim there. And I just layered some lace on top of silk flower that Wanda had sent me. I layered half of a petal flower and another I Am Roses flower on top. And then I didn't want to cover this image here because I just thought it was cool, so I just layered some crochet trim, a doily, and this right here is that very delicate, very vintage lace that Margeret had sent me, and I wanted to use a little bit of it in this album. It's so sweet, with another I Am Roses and a couple of flowers from Wanda. So I thought that was cute. And then this side is just a simple photo mat. I used a piece of trim as a photo corner. I believe this little metal piece came from Stephanie in a rack, and this is a half of a flower. I just cut it in half and distressed the rose and put it on top. One of my buttons that I made to go with the paper collection layered on top of a couple of Prima flowers. Oh, and the background of this paper is lace. What I did was I took a big piece of the lace that Margeret had sent me, and I went over the page with the Claudine Helmuth gel medium, and then I laid the lace down and then went over it again and trimmed it out. And I hope you can tell, but it gave a really cool vintage look to this page and a really nice texture. So I'm glad I tried that technique. It was very cool. And then for this page, this is a piece of lace that I had that I put on some acetate to make a pocket. It's a tag from the collection. Just put Dream and put a couple of trim flowers there. This photo mat, I put this lace here, and a picture can fit underneath there. And I fussy cut these teacups and laid it on. Another dimensional butterfly, Recollection flowers. And then this is another half page here. Just a photo mat with one of the buttons I made on top of a Prima flower. And I used some of the vintage lace that I received from Lisa in my vintage rack, and glossy accented a couple of butterflies to sort of hold it up, and a picture can fit underneath. So I thought that was cute. And then on the back side, let's see, I used my Baroque die to make a photo mat. And then this applique underneath, this applique flower is from Margeret. And I layered a bloomer from Sawcrafter with the center I picked up at the expo. So I thought that came out really cute. And a picture can go underneath there. And I used some pieces of lace for corners there. And then just a regular photo mat here, and lace for photo corners, another applique from Margeret, and a little rose from Wanda. I fussy cut some more teacups and layered them here for dimension. It's on pop dots. So I thought that was pretty. And then the next page, this is one of those really sweet doilies that Margeret had sent me. She sent me several of these, and what I did was I cut, using my spellbinders, this piece here and layered it in the middle. And this is a Prima flower with one of Elizabeth from Beauty Bomb Bomb's cameos, and that's some Prima bling. This is a half of a Prima flower, and that's the other half. So I laid it there, and I just thought it looked really sweet. And then this opens up, and I used a magnet to keep it closed from Basic Gray, but I think it's too small. It doesn't hold as well as I'd like, but this is the first time I used magnets. And there's a place for a photo and some journaling in there. And then on the bottom here, I used some trim from my stash, and this peach flower trim and Recollections flower here to trim it out. For this page, I used my Sizzix, it's the Fancy Fan die, I think it's called, and what I did was I made it dimensional. I built a piece to make it dimensional, to make it more of a pocket, and I used this trim that I had in my stash, this lace trim. This is some Prima bling from Stephanie, and some Recollection flowers. And then inside, I just made a real quick little brag book, I guess, or whatever, and with some Melissa Francis trim and some halfback pearls from Cassie, a sticker from my stash, and I just stamped some journaling prompts. All things are possible, and a place for a photo. Friends are flowers that never fade, and a place for a photo. Dream with faith, inspire, believe in miracles. So just a little place for some extra photos with some journaling prompts, and another tag made from the collection with a little teacup. I hope you're seeing this. Another little photo mat, and another cutout tag from the collection there. And I stamped a teapot on the bottom to go with the theme of the paper. And for a lot of the pages, I don't know if you've noticed, but I used that tearing effect and then layered with lace behind. On almost every page I've done that effect, and I think it just looks really cool and vintage. So I did it here So I've done it throughout the album. For this page, I use my spellbinders, and I don't know which one it is, but I raised this on Pop Dots, and this is a doily that I misted using my Lindy Stamp Gang using the coral color. And I just put another dimensional butterfly, another couple of flowers, and some cherry, or I think they're cherry blossoms, I'm not sure, and a little ticket from Maya Road there from Cassie. This is some crochet trim that Lydia had given to me at one time, and a button from my stash. So I thought that came out really cute. I like the color that doily came out using the Lindy's. And this here is actually a paper bag, and I used a sticker from my stash. It says Precious, and a couple pieces of that flower trim with halfback pearls there, and another butterfly that I glossy accented, and just another little tag for the pocket. I fussy cut another stack of teacups, and this is from my spellbinders, and I just cut it in half and made a journaling spot there. There's nothing in the bag. Whoever ends up with the album can put pictures or journaling or whatever inside the bag. But on the other side is another really pretty applique that Margeret had sent me, and a photo can go here, and portion can fit underneath that applique. I used the Melissa Francis teapot here. It's a resin piece, and I had to paint it with some Martha Stewart paints. These are Prima flowers here, and another butterfly that I painted and layered right there. So I really love that applique. It was the perfect color. This, I used my vintage cabinet door to make this frame, and this is an acetate piece here. Another dimensional butterfly layered on some lace, and like I said, this is acetate, and this pulls out, and this can work as a a stencil or whatever to get, form your picture. And I used a punch that I recently purchased. It makes like a little doily, and I layered it with a bow bunny bloomer and some more flowers and a little resin piece from Kane Company. So I thought that was good, real sweet. And you could use this as a template for the photo and then put the photo on top of that. I stamped this using my silhouette stamp that I have, and then it just goes right back in here. So I like the way that came out. I thought that was really sweet. I love that die. And then this page, I used the Tim Holtz birdcage die, of course, and another dimensional butterfly. I left it open in the middle to hold photos. This is also a pocket here. That's also a pocket there. But I used some lace across here and some halfback pearls and a little rose and another glossy accented butterfly up on top there. For down here, I used my Recollections border punch and Martha Stewart border punch for this piece here. And this is the bird that goes to the cage. I just cut his little legs off and his branch off and layered him here with a Prima flower and another button that I made. So I thought that was cute. And then for this side, I made this lace and acetate photo frame a long time ago. I believe I did a video on it, so I'm glad that I finally found a place to use it. I put it on Pop Dots, so it's functional. I cut up a little bird from the collection and sat him there like he's sitting on top of the frame. Another glossy accented butterfly. This little flower doily crocheted flower is from Kay Sue. Thank you, Kay Sue, for the crochet flowers. And I layered it with another butterfly and another small rose on top. And then I had this lace here, and I just cut it apart and put it out in the form of a banner and layered it with this other peachy rose trim. with halfback pearls in between to make it look like a banner. And I fussy cut this little bird from the collection as well and sat him up on top of the banner. So I thought that came out really sweet as well. And this is some more trim that I'd gotten at Joann's at one time or another. So that's it. I went through it really quick because the last time I shared this video, it took a long time. So so there you have it. There's the album, and I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm really pleased with the binding and how that looks. So I really appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, and I'm sure I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you, ladies.